Greetings, my name is John Gagan. I am the Science and Operations Officer at the National Weather Service in Milwaukee, Sullivan, Wisconsin. This training video will provide an overview of the GFE procedure CreateStormImages and the updates for winter 2023 to 2024. Here are the objectives for this training. Based on forecaster feedback, the naming convention of probabilistic messaging procedures has changed, with a PM underscore added in front of each procedure. All probabilistic messaging procedures are located under the Populate menu in GFE. The remainder of this training will highlight where to launch CreateStormImages and understanding the available options in the procedure's graphical user interfaces. The CreateStormImages procedure is located in the Populate menu in GFE and named PM underscore CreateStormImages. The GUI for your office might look slightly different than the version here, as the Milwaukee office has a few developmental selections not available elsewhere, as well as max wave height, which is only available at marine offices. The left side of the GUI lists the available weather elements to create: storm total snow, QPF and ice, snow and ice probabilities, max heat index, minimum wind chill, max wind gust, and minimum visibility. There are two image creation options. The first offers the opportunity to create images to be sent to your LAN, very useful during DSS and messaging creation process. And the second option creates the images necessary to populate the probability of winter precipitation forecast website for your office. During an upcoming winter weather event, you will likely run through CreateStormImages several times. This is particularly true as you alter your storm total snow grids. Since your storm total snow grid is used as the mode for probability of winter precipitation forecasting, or PWPF, alterations to your storm total snow grid requires rerunning the PWPF data. Creating images to be sent to the LAN is most helpful when constructing partner emails, DSS packets, weather stories, and conference calls. The option to send an image to the web will be most useful when the forecast and messaging process has wrapped up. The final selection on the CreateStormImages GUI is whether or not to populate grids. This is set to yes by default because the vast majority of the time you will want to populate the grids in GFE. There are a few exceptions. For instance, you've already populated the grids, but you didn't create an image, kind of forgot, or you decided to do something else. Since the grids are already populated, you don't need to repopulate them. You can just skip the image creation step and then create the image, which saves time and GFE resources. As a reminder, when you install CreateStormImages, a new weather element group will be installed named StormImages. This is excellent to load when you are ready to run CreateStormImages and interrogate winter probabilistic gridded information. Overall, not too many changes with the image selection GUIs with the 2023-24 version of CreateStormImages. In the storm total snow or ice DSS image GUIs, the sample point options were rearranged. The zoomed in area options are configured during the installation process, and if you identify the need for an area to be pre-configured, talk to your ITO, GFE focal point, or SUE. For storm total snow, you will have 5 options of ranges to choose from: the 10th to 90th percentile, the 25th to 75th percentile, the NWS default color bar range, no samples, meaning no data is shown at the sample point, or the exact value, which is rounded to the nearest inch. What you decide to use is fleshed out during the forecast process and greatly depends on predictability and how best to communicate the context of the forecast. Next, there is the Show Legend option. If you select True, the storm total snow color bar will be included. If you select False, the storm total snow color bar will not be included. After you click OK, the storm total snow GUI, the select probabilistic images GUI will appear. The same probabilistic image options exist as with previous versions of this procedure. with the opportunity to create plan views of percentile data, probability of snow imagery, and snow potential images, which show low, medium, and high risk levels. You continue to have the option to show or not show sample point data on all three of these image types. Finally, you continue to have the option to create point-based images, which we'll show on the next slide. But first, a reminder. With the select probabilistic images and their options, those images do not populate the winter web page. These are strictly for DSS purposes, which is when you're getting ready to create an email, a DSS packet, a weather story, post on social media, put in a conference call, slide set, whatever it is for your DSS purposes. So on to creating point-based imagery. If you wish to create point-based imagery, click Yes in the box selection and select OK. This will open a GUI with a list of predefined sites. And if you see sites that aren't listed that you would like, again, contact your ITO, GFE focal point, or SUE so they can add them. If you choose custom edit areas, an additional GUI will pop up. Create your edit area and be sure to provide a name in the GUI and then click OK. From there, the GUI will continue to reappear. If you wish to create another edit area, repeat those steps. If you are finished, just select No under the Create Edit Area for Station Graphic option and click OK. And you will move on to the next step. A sample of the output is provided on the right. After all options are selected and CreateStormImages runs, the amount of time it will take depends on the number of images you select. When CreateStormImages has finished, images will be sent to your local office's CIFS-mounted drive. In this case, you can see at the top image there, it goes to our S drive/prob messaging. Here are a few non-exciting examples of the type of output you can expect. For many, sending the PWPF information to the web is something that's been done behind the scenes via cron job twice per day. And any necessary updates were run by executing a script in the product generation script menu. Very much out of sight, out of mind. If your office chose to opt in to the winter probabilistic messaging effort, it places the forecast in a position of control when it comes to exploring, navigating, and deciding how to use the probabilistic information in their messaging process. As a result, the PWPF can no longer simply be run by a cron independent of the forecaster influence. This leads to inconsistencies between the PWPF web page, your social media posts, and your DSS packets. Running the Send to Web option within CreateStormImages will populate the PWPF web page with information that is consistent with the rest of your DSS. If your office decides to opt in to using the probabilistic messaging, this will be a change as the forecaster will have to actively be involved with sending PWPF information to the web. The good news is that there's an option to streamline this process when there is little to no winter precipitation forecast for your area. If your office is not opting into the probabilistic messaging effort, carry on as you have in the past. So, the sending the PWPF to the web overview. The first option in sending PWPF to the web is to run through the CreateStormImages procedure. This is going to be most useful when you have wintry precipitation expected in your area over the next 72 hours of the forecast. The first two GUIs you will encounter are shown on the screen. In this particular example, Storm Total Snow and Snow Prob options are selected, along with creating images for the web. This will execute creating the Storm Total Snow Grid as well as run the PWPF imagery for the web. After clicking Run, the GUI on the right will appear. Ensure that Populate STS Probs Only is selected. Your selection for Publish Grids does not matter as the Send to Web process automatically publishes the grids. The next GUI is a familiar one, as we discussed this a few slides back. This is another opportunity to decide whether or not you need to create another storm total snow image, the ranges, what you want plotted at the sample points for your storm total snow. So again, you have those 5 options: the 10th to 90th, 25th to 75th, the default color bar ranges, no samples, or an exact value. Again, what you choose for that storm total snow grid is up to your forecast process and what you think is the best messaging or what's best story to tell for your unique situation. After you click OK, the next GUI up is the Select Probabilistic Images GUI. You will once again have the option to create any of the probabilistic or point-based images. You don't have to, and it does not required, again, just as a reminder, it's not required to select anything from that probabilistic image and option GUI. Simply for DSS purposes, again, for your emails, your DSS packet, your weather stories, social media, conference calls, etc. And when you're ready, go ahead and click OK. When there's very little or no wintry precipitation expected for your area, forecasters can send the PWPF to the web by running a script called Run Auto Create Storm Images. This script can be found under the Products Script menu. Simply select Run Auto Create Storm Images and run. If your office has a local menu in the GFE menu bar, this is a great place for your ITO or GFE focal point to provide a link to the script as well. Again, only use this option if you're expecting little to no wintry precipitation. And remember, the hallmark of the probabilistic winter messaging effort is to put the forecaster in control of actively engaging with the PWPF data during the forecast and messaging process. This is most critical when wintry precipitation is expected. To wrap up, probabilistic messaging procedures have been renamed with a PM underscore ahead of each name of the procedure. These procedures are all located under the Populate menu in GFE. CreateStormImages creates various images for DSS needs, be them emails, DSS packets, conference calls, social media, whatever the need is, as well as sending PWPF information to your website. Remember that there is a PWPF one-touch send option to use when little or no wintry precipitation is expected. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or ITO Jerry Wiedenfeld.